everybody, welcome to another video. I miss you guys very much, guys and girls. Really apologize for being out of combat, but sometimes the everyday work pitches in on the stream. Cheers, some nice tea. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to tell you about 3 features of Scrivener that may seem like, super small and tiny, but that are actually pretty useful. So without further ado, let's get down to it. But before we do, I apologize sincerely for the Zoom layout, but I do want you to see my face because it's not that bad. And I want to show you Scrivener. So there you go. But apologies for that. Anyway, so first feature that I want to tell you about is the Scratchpad, which you find by going to the window menu and clicking on Show Scratchpad, okay? So what is the Scratchpad and how do I use it? Okay, so the Scratchpad is an application level notepad, okay? So it's basically a notepad where you can write stuff that works for whenever you have a Scrivener project open, right? So if I have the Scrivener project open and I open the Scratchpad, I'll get this context. If I close it and I open a new project, I'll get the exact same Scratchpad. So the Scratchpad is basically, imagine like a notebook that you have on the side, and that is basically there for every single project that you have. Okay, so what do I use this for? The main thing that I use it for is to remind me of some commands that I may need while using Scrivener, okay? So I use Bookends, which is a specific reference software, but every reference software has some sort of like commands that allow you to add information to citations. So this is how you add page numbers in Bookends. This is how you add additional text in Bookends. This is how you remove the author name in a reference, and so on and so forth, okay? So I know some of these by heart, like I know the page number by heart and this one by heart, but I don't know all of them. So basically I have them all sort of like copy pasted here, okay? Now the other thing that and obviously basically when I'm writing something and I need to, just do a reference and insert a page number, and I'm like, how do I do that anyway? I can just go to Scratchpad, Bookends, there you go, Bookends, and I have all the information here, okay? To create a new note on Scratchpad, you just press the plus button and you do the title. To remove it, you just do the minus button, there you go, okay? Now, some people may use the Scratchpad to write. So imagine you just wrote something, you're writing a paper, and then you just thought about something for another project. So let's say I do intro summary for mindfulness paper, and I write it here, okay? So this is basically a workflow, and a sort of like minimized distraction process, right? So I don't have to open the new file, and so on and so forth. I'm still in my file for my Fashion AI paper, but I was just able to jot down ideas, okay? And then when I'm done, I can actually send it to any open project. So if I open recent projects, mindfulness, okay? So I can send it to any open project, and I can append text to, for example, the introduction here. So that means that this text will be pasted at the end of the introduction, or I can import as a subdocument, okay, and add it here, okay. So I can import a subdocument for draft, for here for the reviews, whatever, okay. So super useful. Again, for me, the way I use it the most is to keep these bookends commands. Again, these are available in every project that I have open, so super useful for me. Because I don't write that many papers a year, so I don't know this by heart. Honestly, I don't know this by heart. So super useful. Also, I like to have some, like, when I pick up like some nice piece of writing, I'll just post it here on inspiring quotes. Like sometimes this will just be helpful when you're polishing up a paper and so on. So you can use it for anything that you want. The key idea and the key reason this is useful is this is a sort of like a Scrivener file that is accessible for every project that you have. It is saved at the application level. Okay, so there's a specific folder in Scrivener that just saves this. Okay, now I do think I haven't tried it, but I do think that this is platform specific. So that if you have Scrivener on another device and you sync, I am not entirely sure this will be synced, but it may be. Anyway, so there you go. Now, second thing that I want to show you are collections, okay? So let me actually delete this collection. Yep. Okay, so a collection is basically a set of documents that you want to bring together, okay? And so Scrivener has two collections that it does itself. Well, three if you count the binder where all of your documents are. One are the current search results. The other one are synced documents. So this means that I change these documents on my iPad or my iPhone, and these were synced. So this is good because it allows me to check changes if I want and so on. Okay. Search results as well. So if I look for importance, okay, so it will be here. If I look for information systems, so the documents over here. Okay, good. Now I can take this out and let's look at collections, okay? So what do I use collections for? I use collections when I have finished the setup for a paper. So I've basically coded all the data, did all my reading notes, and now I need to think through all of these things together to come up with a framing, okay? So it's very simple to do. What you do is you do new collection and you have framing materials. Okay, good. And you close this. And then imagine, these are my data. Okay, so let me say I'm working on this bit of the analysis. So I pick these up and I just move them here to framing materials. And then I have my reading notes, so I also move them to frame materials, and I have my reviews and also move them to frame materials. Okay, so when I'm writing, then you see I have all of these things here. So what I can do is I can split my screen, go to the binder and say, okay, I'm going to write this in the frame in the introduction. Okay, and I have my framing materials here, right? So that means that I can look at the results section, at the reading notes, and so on, without having to like chase through the document. So this is a little bit of a time saver, but it's also like super important because, sometimes you may have like some specific document with notes from data, or you can have like an interview that you really want to use. and in this way you're just sure that everything you need is here. Okay, so it's just like super useful to do. If you write review letters and so on in separate documents, it's also nice to have a collection with the review letters. I'll just delete this, with the review letters, and then have them all there. You can have a collection with all of your like previous drafts and previous reviews. So whatever you find useful, but as a means of collecting a bunch of documents that will be stored in different parts of your binder into one spot where you can easily check them when you're writing or doing something else with the paper, then this is definitely super useful. Okay, so second feature, collections bring documents in different parts of the binder together in a place where they are super easy to find and scroll through. Okay, now final set of tools that I want to share with you, and this will seem small, but they actually like save a lot of time, are this text styling. Okay, so right now, let me actually open another file, recent projects. Okay, edit. Text. Okay, so right now it didn't work on your project because I have no documents on the draft folder. So this obviously only works with documents in your drafts folder because it's what you're writing. And so basically what this does is it just cleans up text and like saves you a lot of time when proofreading with ProWriting Aid or Grammarly or even Word or stuff like that, because what it'll do is it will just like quickly process documents for you. Okay, so for example, so let's just go through the features, and I'll just then tell you about one of my most useful features, used features. Okay, so replace multiple spaces with line spaces. I get like 8 of this per paper. So this just cleans it up. Remove empty lines between paragraphs. This is super useful, especially if you use like software like ProWriting Aid that tends to add empty lines between paragraphs. So this just makes it automatically. Before learning about this feature, I did everything manually. Remove page breaks if you want a continuous document. Strip leading tabs. So this is where you have like, so this is a leading tab. So where you have an indent, so you don't want to have that anymore. And zap gremlins is like, this like changes every time, but it's basically it cleans up like small formatting mistakes for you. So when you have a tab instead of a double paragraph, a space or something like that. Okay. Now, something that I use a lot is this delete struck through text, because what I do when I'm in the final revisions of a document, I'll just go through the document and strike through text that I think I can delete, and I do a snapshot. So I sort of like save a version of that part of the text, and then I will go back and make a final decision. But instead of like having to manually delete every strike through piece of text, Scrivener just finds it and deletes it automatically. So it's pretty useful. Okay, I'll just tell you about one more if you're doing qualitative research. This is super cool, which is the name generator feature, where you basically generate a list of names. So I'll just show you one. Okay, so there you go. Now what you can do is you can use like double barred surnames if you want. You can have initials only. Okay. Obscurity level. So are these, do you want these to be common names or not? Okay. And then you have like lists of, and this is like super useful if you're doing, for example, an ethnography in a specific region and you want to identify it. You can have like just finish names, okay, and take these out. So there are a bunch of lists like popular U.S. names, popular British names, and so there you go. I must have some Spanish and Portuguese. Yes, Spanish. There you go. Okay. Okay. So let's do this. Wait. What's going on? Oh, okay. Well. Okay. I didn't think I. Number of forenames, initials 1. Set forename, none. Something's wrong is happening. No surname lists are selected for inclusion in the. Okay, whatever. Let's do. Okay, there must be something weird going on here with. Oh, I know. It's I think it's the gender. Let's see. No. Anyway, so something weird must be going on here with this feature. But anyway, I did show you how it works. So there you go. Maybe not working with Finnish surnames, but basically this allows you to get a bunch of surnames of names, which is super important if you're doing qualitative work, if you're doing interviews, observation, and you need pseudonyms. Okay, so those are the 3 features. So the name generator helps you finding names for pseudonyms when you do qualitative research or interviews, observations, so on. The collections allows you to quickly group together a set of documents for a specific task, such as coming up with a frame, having the results, the review letters, and your reading notes, answering review letters, and so on. And then finally the Scratchpad, which allows you to keep notes at the application level rather than at the project level. This means that these notes are there for every single document that you write in Scrivener. And for me, it's super useful if you are using, for example, bookends or other reference management software, and you need to remember the commands to add pages, delete names, and so on and so forth. Okay, so hopefully this was useful. It will get you to use Scrivener more effectively, and I meet you all tomorrow at noon, where hopefully we'll be doing some live writing. I'll see you then.